As always, welcome back to my old subscribers. Thank you for joining to the new subscribers. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have so much more to come. Today, we're going to be speaking with a good friend of mine, Dee Dee Hill. We're going to be talking about love, faith, and dealing with a narcissist. Typically, I would only put out a video every week, but when you have a calling on your life and you're trying to fulfill a purpose that is being placed upon you, you want to put out whenever you can, and that's what I'm doing. So this is actually going to be 2 videos within 1 week, and I'm doing this in order to help someone who may be going through this, who may be dealing with someone who is a narcissist, who needs to know how to break free from it, who wants to know how to heal, who wants to trust their faith in the midst of going through what they're going through. So this is a very powerful discussion. Everything I do is raw and uncut. I don't edit anything out. I speak from the heart. Whatever comes out is what comes out. It's very raw, honest. So nothing is planned. It's just a straight conversation between 2 people. One of the things I want you guys to look into is this book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. We actually talk about the love languages within our conversation. And for those of you who don't know what they are or who have never read the book, I'm suggesting that you get a copy of this book and read it. It is very good. But without any further ado, we're going to jump into the conversation. Again, thank you all for coming back to my YouTube channel. And make sure to subscribe so that way you can get notified when I have more videos popping up. Thank you.
What I've encountered and what I've seen and what I've discussed, a lot of things start from childhood. How they handle stuff, how they've been treated, and it's also like it's a shield that happens, and they don't realize that they're taking on different aspects of what was done to them, and then in turn, this is how they think, and this is how they treat people, and this is how they operate. It's like a comfort zone, or a blanket that they don't want to get rid of, a dirty blanket, and they carry it around with them. So they turn into manipulation, because they knew that's probably what got them through their younger years with their parents.
Right.
Lying, belittling people to make themselves feel better. They really don't deal with their stuff. They'll deal with everybody else's stuff, but they won't deal with their stuff. They'll cover it up and cover it up and cover it up until they have this massive explosion of feelings, and the person that they're intimate with gets the bad end of it, and they see all the ugliness comes to light.
So
it definitely starts young.
And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that after I ask this question, because you said that your ex-husband was a good friend but a terrible husband. How can, with a narcissist, how can he be one and not the other?
How can he be one?
So how can he be a good friend but a bad husband?
The responsibilities are different.
Okay.
The responsibility, he did some rough things. Great friend. I watched him with his friendships, and even before we got serious. Great friend, laugh and joke, cut up with all day long. If you need him, he there. But I think it's the responsibility. It's different from a marriage and a friendship.
True.
Because when marriage, you are locked in, and you two have to walk this journey together. And it's a serious journey that you have to walk together. There comes a responsibility on the man's end. There comes a responsibility on the woman's end. So if I'm covering him, he's protecting me, he's providing. But if he's not ready to handle the responsibility, or becomes too much, then stuff starts to come up. Or stuff that he didn't heal from old relationships, it's coming up. And things become really ugly ugly and toxic.
Okay. So would you say that give me an example when you say bad husband, like was it like financial, emotional,
It was a little bit of all that.
okay.
It was a little bit of all that, and the truth didn't come out of his ability to handle things until we were too deep in. So a lot of things you don't see while you're dating. A lot of things you don't see while you're building a relationship. It's when the marriage starts and life happens that you get to see the real person.
How long were y'all married?
Almost 5 years.
But y'all were together much longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all was together when your oldest son was a baby, right?
Went to high school together.
Okay.
And then we didn't see each other for about 10 years. And then we linked back up. I want to say in 09. Because we got married in 2012.
Okay.
So I want to say 09. In October, I'll be divorced for 2 years. So, yeah.
Now, was it a mutual thing to get divorced, or this was something that you forced his hand to do?
It was a series of events that got to that breaking point. It took me 2 years to actually file. It took me 2 years because, as me, I believe and love marriage, and it's partly to do with what I saw growing up.
Okay.
I saw, my parents dig deep and make it work. The same thing with my grandparents. So I got to see the ups and downs of marriage, but I got to also see the beauty of it when you work together. So my thing was, I have enough faith. We made this vow. Let's dig deep and work it out. So where I was pushing, he was pulling away.
Okay.
So and things just evolved, and it got ugly to a point where I had to say, okay, how much more do I give?
Right.
Until I'm broken. And that took some time. Like I said, it took me 2 years. I had to detox. I had to think. I had to pray. I had to get myself together mentally. And then eventually, in a dream, God showed me that it was time. And it's okay to let go.
Now, how much of your faith kept you in your marriage longer than you may have stayed if you wasn't? For instance, because like you said, given those examples of your parents and your grandparents, and then your mom was a preacher, and your faith, and when people get married and they're being with their faith and their religion, it is you're married until y'all not married, until y'all are either separated by death or what have you, but y'all stay together, you work it out, you dig deep, you go to the pastor, you get counseling. Like, do you think that your religion and your faith kept you in this relationship longer than you should have been?
I'm gonna separate religion and faith.
Okay.
Or religion and relationship.
Okay.
Religion is something that we just operate in because they're different sectors.
Okay.
My faith and my relationship keeps me humble and it keeps me balanced.
Okay.
So if you want to say religion or for the sake of church folk, yeah, for a while I was like, I don't want to look like the wife that gave up.
Okay.
For the sake of the people, I stuck it out a little longer. But when I started to deal with my faith and my relationship, it prepared me to know where I'm going in this.
Okay.
And the stuff that I endured was not just for me. I went through stuff to prepare other women who had to either deal with the same thing and fix their marriage, or deal with the marriage and they knew it was coming to an end.
Got you.
That's what I'm saying. So if I base it off religion, most of the time I was dealing with stuff that most chicks would have been like, yeah, nah, I'm done, son.
Right.
But on the basis of faith, I pushed through it because it was preparing me for something. Yeah, I pushed because, at the end of the day, I felt like, God, we honored you in this. We made a vow. I need you to make it work.
Right.
And God, you do your part. He has to do his part because he made the vow as well.
Right.
So now he's not doing his part and he's not honoring you. He's no longer honoring me. It's time. And that's
Right.
it.
Now,
With other
did
people, I'll take care of the people. I gotta take care of you.
right. Now, at any point in time, did you go to your pastor with all of what was going on?
Me and my pastor have a very, very close relationship. Um, Almost like a second parent. So I could call him and drop it down and say, hey, this is what's going on. He's no longer willing to do counseling. These are my issues. This is how I'm feeling. I need your honest answer. I don't need you to be biased.
Okay.
Because I know you see me as a daughter, but I need healthy, honest answers, healthy, honest statements, and I need you just to hear my questions. And that's pretty much what he did. And he told me, listen, if you want to fight for your marriage as much as you can. But don't fight to the point where you're totally broken and you feel like you can't recover. That's unfair.
Absolutely.
And my father, he said at the end of the day, God never made marriage to be bad. We say you go through things. We cause these things. God didn't make it to be that way. You're supposed to be fruitful and you're supposed to multiply in your marriage. If you're not being fruitful and you're not multiplying, it has nothing to do with children. It has to do with what's happening between you and your mate. Are you growing together? Are you becoming more vibrant? Are you bouncing off of each other? Are you sharing the weight? If that's not happening, it's not meant for it to be. God didn't want you to stress in a marriage. So at the end of the day, let's be healthy about it.
Absolutely. So I heard you say he didn't want to go to therapy anymore. So did y'all go to counseling about?
Actually, prior to and that's the main thing. Before we got married, we had to go to marriage counseling. We had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And several sessions. It wasn't just like one session. All right, y'all good. It was several sessions.
So okay. So y'all went to counseling before you got married.
Correct.
During the time where the marriage was failing, did y'all go at that point?
No. Now
Okay.
I would go to sessions by myself.
Okay.
But no, he wasn't. He was just on this, I'm not going. I don't have to go. I don't feel like I need to go. In my mind, everything is good. In your mind, everything is not good, sir.
Right.
You know, you let go of your pride and you gotta fix it before you lose it.
So when did he start to show the narcissistic tendencies? Was it once y'all got married, or was it throughout the whole relationship?
I say this: prior to getting married, marriage counseling, you don't notice the mask. If you get what I'm saying, because you'll agree with everything in marriage counseling, and you're gonna do all these things, and you say all these right answers, and it's so amazing because he rushed the wedding. We weren't supposed to get married until 2014. We got married in 2012 because he started the job, and he felt like we needed to hurry up and get married right away. And he wanted to give me this big lavish wedding, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be on the beach with the most important people in my life. We got permission, and that's good for me. I didn't need that. My mom's deceased. My dad gave us the blessing. Let's do it this way. It's more organic to me. It's more God honoring. He didn't want to give me that. He wanted to dress up the idea of being married and not actually do the married work.
Say it again.
So going into the marriage, old habits that he got rid of started to flourish.
Okay.
Issues from a previous marriage that he was in started to come up. So then I was being matched or looked at like the ex-wife. And it's like, yeah, that ain't me. Because I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to treat you any kind of way.
Right.
Know that you have a wife that's a go-getter. I'm going to cover you in prayer. I'm going to make sure that you're all right. I'm going to make sure that you're fed. You know, I'll balance the money if that's your weakest link. But I need you to be stronger on this end.
Right.
So it was like I was always working for him to see that there is healthy women out here who are willing to be married and have a good, healthy relationship.
Right.
But he was stuck on past.
Wow. So how throughout all of this, what did you do to heal yourself?
I had to look at the good, the bad, the ugly. I had to let go of the fact of Russ didn't do nothing wrong. But the way that he would talk to me or the way that he would treat me, everything was always an issue.
Right.
So the good was the issue. So it was like, am I the problem? But when I know for a fact that I'm bringing in a healthy light and I'm bringing in a healthy love, why is this a problem?
Right.
Why is me serving an issue? When he was unemployed, I was working 2 jobs. That was an issue. These are the things you're supposed to do as a wife when you're taking care of your husband.
Absolutely.
Friends got in the middle. He was more concerned about his maintaining his friendships and not the marriage, hanging out late when he should be home. And it's my thing is that if I'm balancing 2 jobs, I'm taking care of, you helping me raise my children, and I'll never take that away from him. I will say this: he was an amazing stepfather to my children. He helped me raise them. I will always give him that, and I will always honor him for that. But when it came down to the pride of a man, when you have a go-getter wife, it's a problem. The pride of a man, when you're dealing with a woman of faith, it becomes a problem. We argue. Why are we arguing about praying? It shouldn't be an issue.
Really?
This is what we do. This is how we're supposed to keep each other balanced. So it was just like things were just starting to be, or then it was like you're too good for me, or you're too loving, and I'm looking like, but this is what you should want. This is what you should need.
True.
Even in your broken state, this is what you need that's going to help you. I'm trying to help push you.
Right.
So all the good to him was an issue.
So, was his faith, and did he worship the same as you worshiped, or he wasn't?
No, and I feel it, but it was like, but my mind was, he understands me. We're both PKs, so he sees it in the beginning. He sees it, and it's okay. But then eventually, because he don't want to be in the realm that I'm in, then it became a battle. Well, why are you always doing this? Or why you always got to be here? But it's like, sir, this is the gifting that I had, and I have to honor God in what I do. I'm not going to sit dormant. I can't.
Right.
Because if you respect it, it blesses, not only blesses me, it blesses the house. It blesses you.
Absolutely. So I heard that you say you have a boyfriend now.
Yes, I do.
And I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
So, faith-wise, did you make sure that he was good in that area? Or does it not matter? Does it matter if he worships like you?
After this, I don't need him to be high ranking in the church, titles and all that, because
Okay.
I've dated titles.
Okay.
And it's cute because I don't look. I'll say this: I dated guys with a title, but when it's time to get to know the man didn't match the title.
Woo!
I would rather you be humble and honor God in your present state, and then you respect what I bring and how I operate and how I feel, and you're okay with it, and you know how to cover me, and you're with me, rather than you having a title and you can't do absolutely nothing for me, or you're rude, or you're more sexual than understanding who I am as a woman and how I think. So my thing is, when I'm entertaining a man, I need to know what's on your mind. I need to know what you like to do outside the title, because my thing is, if you're lost in the title, then there will be no interaction between me and you, because you have nothing to offer me. I'm glad you know prayer, and I'm glad you know a scripture, and I'm glad you can do a sermon. But if we can't date, or you can't tease my mind, then what do we have? We don't have anything.
You're right.
You
You are right.
So my boyfriend, he does not have a title, but we can sit and talk scripture.
Okay.
He got to see me serve in 2 different capacities, serving with a praise and worship team, and serving at another church, leading to prepare the pastor to come up, and to see his support and the awe in his eyes, and him being right there, making sure that I was okay, and being with me when it's time for me to leave. And when I felt like I don't know if I did what I needed to do, he assured me that it was all right, that it was good, that the people, he felt it, and he knew the people felt it. That is good for me.
Listen. Whew. I can't even.
And this is the thing. I've known him for a long time. Timing was off because we tried to date years ago, and it did not work out.
It wasn't the right time.
It was not the right time.
It
But
was
he
not.
came looking for me, and I'm glad he did.
Will you marry again?
Yes. But I love being a wife. I love being with one man. I don't mind being submissive to a man that knows how to lead. But submission goes both ways. So when I'm serving, you're in a position to submit to make sure that I am okay when I'm served. But when I come down from serving, I gotta serve my man, and I'm okay with that.
Listen.
My mama made that thing look good, and she was a pastor. She was Josh's wife, and she made it look good. I don't know how she did half the stuff she did. I wanna be able to be matched that because she did it so gracefully. And when she did it gracefully, it made my father calm, and he was okay with whatever she did when she did ministry. Because when she got home, she was a wife.
Listen.
So, I can't wait, baby.
So let me say this.
Listen, when you get married, you can sin with no issues. It ain't even sin no more. You can do what you want. You got a husband. That's what I'm talking about.
Listen. So I want to tap into being submissive because I hear women say they don't know how to be submissive to their partner.
Okay, so this is the thing. It's learning your partner's love language.
Absolutely.
Submissive doesn't mean yes, lady, I do whatever you want. No, it's knowing your mate's love language, to know how to tend to their needs. So if let's say your lady's love language is gifts and words of affirmation, quality time,
Right.
and that's where you pour into her needs.
Right.
I don't need gifts. I need to touch you. I need to be in your presence. I need words of affirmation. Like gifts are last. That I don't really care about that. But to be in your space and I can breathe you and we can have conversation. Go on walk with me. Go on hiking with me. Working out with me. One of our days was at the gym. That was so for me. I was like, oh, he out here working out with me. He working out with this big chick like me for like 102 pounds. You know what I'm saying? That was good for me.
And I think a lot of people, I've actually read the 5 Love Languages book, and I suggest that to a lot of people because it's very important to know your spouse's love language. If you don't, it's going to be hard to pour into them where they need you to. You're going to always lack something.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, me and my boyfriend's love languages match.
Wow.
So it may be off by a point, but we literally match in the same route. So it was like, oh, we balance each other out. This is good.
Right, because that's normally it's you always the opposite of your mate. I've never met anyone who was the same as their mate. It's always like maybe acts of service or like giving gifts or like the words of affirmation or just the presence, being in someone's presence. It's typically not the same thing. So that's very, very interesting to have someone with the same love language as you. That is awesome.
Yeah, when he took me his results, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like this is perfect. Maybe my number 1 and his ex service was number 2 for him. But then everything else was just the same. And I was like, this is dope. We're gonna be all right.
It sounds like everything has definitely worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people, and this was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Dale about his perspective, because a lot of times we don't hear it from a man's perspective. And like I was telling Dale at one point, I was like, sorry, at one point you was telling me you was never getting married again just because of how...
I went through that moment. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to date because, niggas is tripping out here. They acting stupid. So...
He wasn't even going to do that. He was talking about, I'm just going to be out here slutting and that and the third. He was like, but Tasha, I never did that though.
Yeah, because, he wasn't with me. And I get it. And when we talked, I was just filing. So, so to talk to him, I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna be all right. I ain't gonna be out flooding, but I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna take this detox period. I'm gonna figure out what I need to do for me. I need to make sure my children are straight, because they play a part.
Right.
They impact them. Are they okay with mommy dating? Because at first they were like, "Nah, sis, we gonna get you some cat." That's all you gonna need, because this ain't working. But now they're like, all right, mommy happy, so we gonna fall back a little bit. Just gonna fall back just a little bit.
So when you were going through this season of being broken with your ex-husband, how did it affect your kids? Were they seeing the change in you? Were they worried? Could you see the worry on their faces?
My children are very in tune, although I had to put on the strong mommy face, so I wouldn't allow them to see me cry or be frustrated. I kind of handled everything with, I internalized a lot because I knew I had to protect them. And then even though me and my ex-husband wasn't working out, he's still a man. So there still was a level of respect that I had for him as a man and as their father, or stepfather. There's still a level of respect I had to have. So I had to teach my son, okay, it's not working, but he's still a man. Still show respect. Y'all still hanging out. He's still coming to get you. It's just that we aren't working out as a couple. And it's okay. It doesn't always work out. And I had to remind my son, hey, it didn't work out with me and your father. My children's father.
Right.
And it's okay. Now, do we talk? No. But your stepfather's here. He's been here all these years. He's watched you grow. He's taught you how to do things as a man. Respect him. This part I don't need you to worry about.
Right.
But I make sure that y'all okay and prepared for what's about to transition. And they transitioned right along with me. Now, my son did have a few angry moments, Lord. But when we got over that hurdle, he was just like, okay, if you're good and you're healthy, then we're good and we're healthy at the end of the day.
And that's typically what happens when you have a son. He wants to protect his mama.
Absolutely. And my daughter was the same way, but it's just like, respect him as a man. Nobody's perfect. Some promises were made, but people don't always stick to the promise.
Right.
See who he is and keep it pushing. But show some respect.
And that is so awesome, because most women would have not said that to their children.
And I can encounter women who are just this nasty and angry, but it's like that is not going to solve anything. And you got to remember, what you pour into your children, you are building them up to be angry children. And I don't want my children to be angry. And I want my children to understand, some folks may fail you. All right, they failed you. Now, what do you want to do to take your time and your life back and keep moving?
Right.
Learn from it.
Right.
Just learn from it.
Right.
So he wasn't good in this area, but he was good in this area.
Right.
Hey, you had a great stepdad. Every game he was there, donuts and dads, he was there for baby girl. It was just towards the end when we separated that he wasn't always there, but he was always a phone call away. Right. So him from that point. Don't worry about him not being a good husband. That's not your place. And I had to say the two. That's not their place.
Right. And I was thinking about this because, I was trying to call myself preparing for our conversation. I was actually thinking about doing a conversation on my own and uploading just, my thoughts on everything. But something that you said and something that I wanted to say in the beginning, to touch on in the beginning of our conversation, it really makes sense. We imitate what we see growing up. You came up in a household with your mother and your father. It was based off of love and faith, church. And you seen them work through the hard times. Same as with your grandparents. As if, let's take me for example. I came up in a household where my grandmother, who was once married, was no longer married. And I was so young, I wouldn't remember when she was married anyway. So coming up, I only saw my grandmother raising her 2 kids. Then I turned around and seen my mother raising us. So I based my relationships off of what I saw my mother do. Because my grandmother, even though technically she was still married, but they were separated. They never got a divorce. They were separated for, I mean, as I'm 39, they've been separated as long as I've been on this earth. But she never dated another man. She never brought another man around us. She gave her life truly to God, and that was it. That was the only person that she needed.
And she was honoring the very thing that she said that she was going to do as a wife. And that means even in this moment of separation, I'm still a wife because I have not divorced him. And I still have to be an honest representation for my family.
And he came around. He would come. He would still come around and everything. And
they had to, commune together.
And it was just like, okay. And as a young kid, I'm like, that's my grandfather, but why my grandfather ain't living here? But it wasn't until I got older that my mother explained to me, your grandmother, what happened in their past. She just never got a divorce, never remarried. She just decided to leave things as is, but just they live separately. And I was like, wow. But then...
But this is the thing. Back then, it was okay. It was okay. If you think about it, back in the day, it was okay for him to have a family here, and you kept it quiet as long as he was taking care of home.
Because you know what? My grandfather had another family because he had another kid.
Exactly. Things are different now. These women now, either they not for it or they gonna play the game with you.
And it's crazy, like
the children. And at the end of the day, it's unhealthy to you. Because then you kind of you start to belittle yourself as a woman. Like, why was not enough?
Right.
Why are all these things before me?
Right.
When you know what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
And it's the thing I had to get away from. Like, I know what I'm bringing to the table.
Right.
And people like, amazing, you're this, you're that, I don't understand what's going on. But it's not for you to judge or decide. I have to get past this hurdle.
Right.
I have to realize that no matter how much he fussed, I know everything that I did was right.
Right.
And it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay. He couldn't handle it. And it's okay.
And I truly believe, like I was saying, I truly believe that your upbringing, what you are surrounded with, has a really big impact on your relationships as an adult.
Absolutely, because if I had married him, well, I wouldn't have got married then, but just the thing, if I would have married him in the roughest time of my life when my mom died, it would have been bad, because I was angry. So things happen in time and for a reason.
Right.
So I had to revert back to what I know, what I was raised on, what I believe for myself. Not just because mommy told me to. I had to love God for myself.
Absolutely.
He was going to help me through this.
Absolutely. And it's like, for me, it's like, okay, now that I'm the age that I am, well, in the past couple of years, I have tried to look deeper within to say, my past doesn't determine my future. I don't have to take those examples that I was dealt and make them my example. What do I need to change? Because I've actually spoken to ex-girlfriends and said, what was the issue within our relationship? What broke the relationship? And I kept hearing one constant thing. You were a great provider, but you were not a great partner. And after hearing that more than once, I had to do a little digging.
Reevaluate yourself.
Yes, because I don't want to just be a great provider. I want to when you speak about me, she was a great partner, a great provider, and she was a great lover. I don't want that provider part. I mean, to me that means nothing. Okay, I handle the bills, but you.
Anybody can provide. But
right.
What are you doing for mental state? How are you making me feel? And vice versa, because that can be crippling. I I remember my ex-husband, he would get so angry, and it wouldn't even be nothing that I did, but because he brought it home, because maybe it was some failures happening, or some issues were happening, or it was past issues that he thought that I was still holding over my head, but I was in the moment of grace. And I'm like, okay, grace got us here. I'm going to leave the past alone. What you did, it's all right. Let's work through it. But he's still in this prideful, paranoid place, would bring up stuff and bring up all these issues. And he was just rude and nasty and argumentative. And it's like, wait a minute. You can't treat me this way because I'm not treating you this way.
Right.
It's unfair. And if you don't see that, then that's a problem.
Wow.
It's a problem.
What advice would you give to someone who is dealing with a narcissist and is having either a hard time breaking away from them or are broken and are trying to heal from being with one?
With one. If it's unhealthy, to your bone, it's unhealthy and it's draining, you gotta let it go. As hard as it may seem, because sometimes soul ties are just like, you just stuck on in there because the love is good, and you remember in the beginning he did this, that, and the other, and your years in, but your years in are now toxic. It's know your worth and know how to let it go. It's okay. Somebody's going to love you again. Everything that you do good, that you do right, who you are as a woman, and who you are becoming, somebody is going to love and appreciate that. You do not have to stay stuck. You owe that person nothing.
Right.
At the end of the day, you owe them nothing. So why take the very essence of who you are for somebody who's not willing to let go of their toxic behavior? Because it's borderline mentally and emotionally abusive.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a constant strain. Because they play with your mind and they manipulate you. And then, when you are dealing with the issue and you know right from wrong, but their wrong seems right because of the way they're playing with you. Because they know how to toy with you.
Right.
It's unhealthy. Some things you just got to walk away from and free yourself from so you can find exactly what you need. Not what you want, what you need in the right person. If you're out of the relationship, but you still feel broken and stuck, the best thing to do is deal with you as a person. You can reevaluate all that has happened. You can write it down, the pros and the cons, where it went wrong, where the brokenness started, where you feel like you are in distress, and work on healing those things.
Right.
Find the beauty in who you are again. And you don't have to date for a while. I'll tell anybody. When you still broken like that, do not date.
And that was going to be my next thing. Do not rush into another relationship because you're looking for that love.
It took me some time. And as much as I wanted to, it really took me some time. Like I said, it took me 2 years to file. And then even right after that, I still wasn't in a position to want to date anybody seriously because I still had to get rid of some feelings or some frustrations. And sometimes those exes, they'll try to come back. Because my ex-husband he would try. And every now and then I would fall for a slick word, and I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm no longer with this man, why play this game?
Right.
Because it's bad to me. So I knew he still had a tug on my heart that I had to cut off at the root. So it's like, literally, I tell anybody, detox. Wow. Get yourself together. Find the essence of who you are as a man or woman. Because you got some narcissistic women out here. Get back to being whole. Because you can't offer yourself to anybody broken. Get back to the wholeness. Whatever hobbies that you got to do to get yourself together, do that. And prepare for your next. But make sure you're ready when your next shows up.
Absolutely.
You're not going to see your next. Or you're going to make them a friend and friend zone them when that's supposed to be your mate.
Absolutely. Listen, this right here, I love having these type of conversations. This whole conversation was everything. And not to mention, after I cut this tape, I got a question for you anyway, because I've been thinking about you. and I'm having some faith issues that I wanted to reach out to you for anyway. So I'm gonna when I cut the tape, I'm gonna do that. But I thank you so much for enlightening, because I believe I'm at a stage in my life that I believe the foundation of everything is love. And if you don't love yourself before trying to love another, or you're trying to love someone while you're still broken, it will never work.
The greatest of all things is love. The greatest of all things, because love can conquer all. But it's all in how you treat people.
Absolutely.
It's all how you treat people. You can break somebody to where they just say they think love is disgusting, but it's not.
Right.
We're just here off of love.
Right. And I'm trying to. That's why I wanted to do these interviews, because I've came in contact with so many people who at one point in time were broken, but they found a way to heal themselves, and now everything is based off of love. They welcome the idea of love when at one point in time they didn't even want that love.
Yeah.
Because it can be scary. Now let's be honest. Love can be scary.
It is. It is. Even let's say even when my boy was taking the picture, I was like, I don't know, because you know you still like red flags going up. It's like, why now?
Right.
My questions in the world, and he like, listen, you gotta let me show you. At least let me show you something.
Right.
I'm back. Let me show you, and I'm still like, why?
Right.
Why? But we gotta take those blinders off. I'll tell you, don't be so heavily guarded that you don't see what's right there in your hand. Because sometimes we can put so many guards up and we miss a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
We miss a whole lot of stuff.
I agree.
So, be wise, but don't be guarded.
Right.
Take the shield down a little bit. Put some steps on that wall so they can come over and when the time is right. And you time it. And if they really want you, they're gonna respect your time and how you transition into the relationship.
Absolutely. And they will respect and understand the past that you just healed yourself from.
But you gotta tell them. Don't keep them guessing, and don't have them thinking you tripping and you crazy.
Right.
You gotta say, see, this is what I'm coming out of. I'm not stuck in it. I cut it at the root, but I have these things that I see, and sometimes they might cause a little bit of a trigger. But I'm offering you my truth.
Right.
Now, you just walk this journey with me until I'm more comfortable to say, all right, this is who I am totally, and I'm ready.
Right. I agree. Absolutely. You have to be open and honest about where you're coming from so that they understand. Because a lot of people don't. So. But that would be all my questions for our little show.
Okay, all right.
And again, I appreciate it because, like I said, we have a mutual friend that was just talking about dealing with a narcissist, and they are going through it. So I definitely hope that this helps them and it helps anyone else. I'm going to do a roundtable sometime soon because a couple of people saw my video with Dale and had some questions or wanted to have like a roundtable discussion. So I'm going to do that. And like I said, I'm going to invite you, Dale. I have two other people that I'm inviting. They already know about it. I hopefully want to do that in person. So I'm just trying to wait and see how long this lasts so that it can actually be done in person. And that way we can get a good conversation going.
Okay, I'm with it.
All right.